Hi, welcome to the garden today. Today we're going to be working in the container part of the garden. I'm going to kind of give you some updates on things that I've done. First one's the Okinawa spinach that I cut the other day, 3 days ago, and put that in there. It's doing fine. You're not seeing any even stress. It's set right there. I haven't, I've made sure it's had water on it. It's doing good. And then the tomato plants up over here on the other side of the yard, I had two of them done really well. One of them has struggled. I think it's been 2 days. First day I left them inside. Yesterday I took these two and set them out here so they get a little bit more sun. They're getting sun right now, but it's getting where they're going to start getting in the shade. This one just hasn't done as well. You can kind of see the leaves are a little bit more curled up on it. We'll see if it makes it or not. These though, I mean, it's been 90, 95 degrees, and I set them out here just because there's more humidity out here than is in the house. And I meant to bring them in last night, and I forgot to. So that's kind of my theory. I'm going to bring them in at night, take them back out in the morning, and just kind of see how they're doing. Over here, we do have, I made a cutting last fall. Of a fig cutting, and this is how much it's a strawberry verde variety, and it's actually kind of a dwarf variety. So, making fig cuttings is very easy. You're not going to get 100%, and certain varieties are harder than others. But if you can get a fresh fig cutting when they're dormant, stick them in the ground, they should. I mean, you do get a high percentage. I remember one time the first time I did it. And I just took a solo cup, stuck them in the solo cup with some regular potting mix, and I cut it from the same tree as this one, and I had 6 of them. Did not put any powder or anything on them. Just stuck them in there. It's got 6 out of 6. Okay, all 6 of them rooted. All 6 of them produced on the cutting. So, it's not that difficult. Now, if you do it now, they're a little more tender. I may try that. I've been kicking it around of trying to get some in this time of year to see how hard it is when you do it from a green perspective. The main thing I was going to be doing today though is this here, and this is a tomato. This is a lemon tree. It's a Meyers lemon. It has been in this pot for several years, and by that I'm thinking 10 to 12 years, if not a couple years more than that. But I know 10 years. It's been in this same pot. The mix was not good when I put it in there. It was kind of an organic mix that isn't real good. It has collapsed. As you can see, the soil line is about right here. So, it's not a good mixture. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to pull it out. I've got some good soil mix here, and we're going to use the same pot. We're just going to redo it. Now, I did not water it yet because I don't want this to be heavy. You lift it straight out, sit it down, and see, there's not much. Let's see how dry it is. But that's a problem. That's not enough soil for this type of a tree. So what we're going to do, we're going to fill this puppy up. Back up some. And why you're probably saying, why don't I just put it in this one? I don't really know. But in all honesty, most of it's going to go in here. And you're hearing this clicking sound. This is because this has the expanded shell in it. So it's a really good mix. It won't break down very easily. It's got pine bark in it. I think that's about it. I think it's just a mix of pine bark and expanded shell. Especially good for putting it in the bottom. So that would drain well. Now that looks like it's fairly high. And it might be. There's only one way to tell. You have to set that thing back in here. Now this is kind of pre-moistened. You want your soil in there to be moist so it won't be hard to get re-wet. My wife said it's cooler at 7 o'clock in the morning. Put this thing back in here. Okay. I'm not gonna, see, it looks better already. I'm not going to, I have a whole lot of mix left. And then I will go in here and get that mix to go down in there to fill in that little gap that you're going to have there. I'll make me up some more mix. Then I'll water it good, and then I'll fertilize it. And I'm probably going to go in here and kind of trim this thing up where it's going to grow up a little bit higher. And so it's not a lot of effort this time of year. I did not go through there and mess with the roots. Now, let's get out of the sun. Now, if I was, and here's my other mix here, and it doesn't have anything in it. It's just, and that's just this pine bark mulch that I get from Living Earth. Premium pine bark mulch works really well because it's nice, finely ground. So that's kind of what you want to get. I don't mess with the roots, especially this time of year, because it's really hot. The more you mess with those roots, the more you're going to damage the root hairs, and that's what sucks in the water. And it's just too hot. You don't want to stress those plants any more than you have to. It's not a good time to be up potting, but you know, you can do it. So that's something to kind of think about. And you know, it's hot. Remember, okay, how much rain you've had. You have to start watering this stuff. I'm starting to water this stuff again about every 2 to 3 days on my bigger pots, and that's what I like to do. Small pots, 5-gallon pots, probably needs it every day, but you've got to water this stuff. And like I said, that one got really, really dry. It's been going through that cycle of getting, you know, dry and wet and dry and wet because there's just not enough bulk in there to keep it around. It's very root bound. The mix is bad too. So hopefully this will give it a chance to start rooting out. Now it's still going to need a lot of water because those roots are going to take a while to venture out. I probably should have cut some. I'm just really nervous, and I really, with a bush top, and that's what a lemon tree is. It's a bush, more or less. They would tend to take over and move out. Your blueberries sometimes don't. If you're looking at peach trees, plum trees, those are bigger trees. They do need to have that cut down the sides to keep those roots from wrapping around. A pine tree, okay, we used to do Afghan pines. They're notorious for, they'll have a root that'll go around like that, and as that pine tree grows, that root, that circular root will grow bigger and will strangle the taproot that goes down it, because a pine tree has a taproot. So taproot trees definitely do. Annuals really don't. I know everybody says they do, and everybody says, oh, you need to take those roots, you need to mess them up. You know, that comes from the fact that people's planted pine trees and bigger trees, and that's caused that circling root to happen, and it chokes it out. That's why it's there. A lot of people, even master gardeners, will tell you, you know, you need to, you know, like a pepper plant, you need to stretch those roots out and move them out. When you do that, you're stressing that plant, okay? You're setting that plant back. So, you know, if you're looking at a perennial that's going to be a really big tree planted in the ground, that could be a problem. So I'm not diminishing it, but, and another thing I guess I'll also look up over here, and I haven't really mentioned it much lately, but I was trying to grow longan trees, and one of the problems that I have is longan done pretty good for a year or two, and then it stopped growing, okay? And then it just slowly died. So I took it out of the pot, just straight out of the pot, and this is what I had. And you see all those multiple roots in there. And there's not a whole lot of pot mix left in it, okay? Because I didn't shake all the pot mix out of it. So it has so many roots in it, it just wasn't space for it to get the nutrients it needed. It's severely root bound, so that's why it died. It wasn't any You know, whenever I looked through it, there wasn't seem to be any grubs or anything of that nature. I mean, this is fairly short, but still, you know, certain trees just don't do good long term. I think that's one of them. I think that I'm still trying it, but I'm afraid, what's the other one called? The lychee trees are the same way. They're a really big tree. I mean, they're a 30, 40 foot tall tree. And sometimes trying to put those in these little, you know, 35, 40, 50 gallon pots just doesn't give enough room. You know, they're wanting to get bigger. They get really crowded, and then they start going downhill. Where stuff like peach trees, plum trees, those are small trees to start with. They don't get huge. So you can put those in a pot. I mean, I've had this one here. This one, they've been there at least 7 or 8 years. Some of these have been there 12 to 15 years. Okay, in this size pot here. I mean, you know, I planted it in that pot. I have not, you know, up potted them or any of that stuff. Haven't done a lot of fancy pruning, but they do seem to be able to handle it much better than what the lychee trees and the longan trees did. And I think pear trees would be the same thing. You try to put a pear tree in one of these pots, I don't think it's going to work long term. Okay. Now you say, but some people do apple trees. Well, apple trees is different because they've got rootstock that will, you know, that doesn't have that vigorous root system. So you can do the smaller apple trees. I don't think they really do that for pears, at least not that I've seen. So, you know, a standard apple tree, I would not put in one of these shop pots. I would put one in, you know, at least the semi-dwarf varieties. May not go all the way to the, you know, the Bud 9 or whatever they call it, but, you know, that's a little bit different. But like I say, really big trees, I don't think that you're going to get by with, you know, if you're going with a full-size apple, full-size pear, full-size lychee. And one person said that one of the lychee trees I think Brewster, is a smaller one, so that one might work. But from what I'm seeing, you have to have cross-pollination for those, from my experience. And then you got to have 2 different varieties. So, okay, you still got to have a different variety. So just the one won't help you. You need another one. Unless Brewster turns out to be self-pollinating, which I don't know. But I did notice on my lychee trees, the fruit set on it was bad. And this year was 0%. I mean, I didn't get any of them to set. So, because only one tree bloomed. Had 2 trees, both of them were good size. So this is going to be the year. And one of them decided not to bloom. So, the last year, the other one didn't bloom. So I'm going, that's not going to help me through alternate. But citrus trees seem to do okay in these containers because they're also not necessarily a huge tree. However, saying that, is this tree here, this Jiu-Jitsu tree, the lemonade tree, is a bigger tree. So I'm wondering already, it's gotten pretty good size. It's putting on a lot of fruit. It's doing good. But I really think that some of the smaller fruit trees, if I could have got the trifoliate rootstock on it, it might have been better. Because trifoliate is kind of a dwarfing rootstock. And then they also have the flying dragon, which is even more of a dwarf rootstock. It's probably better to put in containers than I know Beckno sells a rootstock that's a little more vigorous than your trifoliate, and I think that causes some problems. You know, they make a pretty tree. They make a pretty tree fast. They don't seem to have quite the cold tolerance. And Beckno, Saxon Beckno is another one of the big nurseries in Texas, citrus nursery producers. Actually in Orange, Texas, about 30 miles from us. Nice people, nice company. They're not, but I just don't really like the rootstock that well. You know, I wish they would have went with trifoliate. I understand why they don't, because trifoliate doesn't make as pretty of a tree. They're trying to sell trees. I get that, but I guess since we're out here, this is the Sumo, which is that name right there that I can't say, and it's doing good. It's got fruit on it. However, it's got too much fruit. I mean, I'm gonna have to trim those back. It's gonna break the limb, or thin it. And this is the other one that's also got the fruit on it. So I'm gonna have to start watching that to keep from breaking limbs, because we did have one on, I don't see it now, but one of these limbs like here broke on a Chandler. And this one here died. These just have not done good either. I don't know. It could be the same problem. They're in a bigger pot, so I don't really. Still learning on some of this stuff because some of these things get 4 or 5. You think you got it figured out, but when you start growing this stuff, you'll see that, hey, you do good for 4 or 5 years in these pots, and then stuff starts changing on you. With the peaches, I was able to sell through that and do okay. With the citrus, we're still to be determined on some of this stuff. Now the Meyers lemon, it did fine. You know, I didn't have any problems. But when you start getting some of these other species, you're going, okay, is this citrus going to handle, you know, the container culture or not? And some of them are, some of them aren't. But you know, it's worth playing with. It's worth trying out. I've got a lot of fruit off of this stuff. Got a spider right there. I don't know if you can see it on the camera. But anyway, I think that's all we got for today. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you next time. Goodbye.